And so really the turning point in this whole thing, the turning point ends up becoming, I think, the blinders really getting ripped off. That's what started everything, right?
Yeah.
So take us through that a little bit. Take us through, because I'm sure a lot of people right now, like we were just talking about at the beginning, are stuck in jobs or positions, and this will lead into part 2 where we talk about the secrets to living a truly remarkable life. But here in part 1, let's focus on the turning point in your hero's journey. I think it really leads into where, a lot of people have these blinders on, whether it's money, whether it's power, whether it's what they've been told they can or can't do all their life. So what helped you, either what ripped the blinders off for you, or what helped you get those blinders off?
I woke up one morning to an email from my employer saying, hey, since you're only a part-time employee, we're going to cut your pay in half. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll tend to do it.
So my only priority with that job was making money. And all of a sudden, they want me to do the exact same job. I was nationally certified. I was actually really good at what I did, despite not liking it at all. And they wanted me to do all things remaining equal, wanted to cut my pay in half. And I was like, absolutely not. That is never happening. And
Wow.
so I was literally essentially shoved out of the nest to figure it out.
Yeah, and this episode is all about you. I can definitely feel where you're coming from. I know what finally shoved me out of the nest was the call that's saying, well, we've decided to eliminate your, basically the call to, well, we're going to eliminate your position, and that was the second time within 2 years, within basically within the span of a year with 2 separate companies. Yeah, that's what kind of gave me the shove and the wake up call to get back to doing what I needed to do. But
yeah.
So what you're really saying, what people should be looking out for is they may get to this really bad point, and they may get the blinders ripped right off by having the one thing that's keeping them there be taken away. Just like good people. If the people are really good, you could walk in and everybody be laid off tomorrow, right?
And the thing that I always think, and it's funny because I was super conscious of this as it was happening, and I still chose to have the experience that I had, but I believe that, I could have chosen to take those blinders off myself. I mean, I knew. I'm a very aware person, and I was very aware of what was going on, and I knew that if I didn't choose to take them off, that at some point the universe was going to forcibly take them off. And I knew that was the situation. And so, I mean, I believe that's kind of true with all of us. If we are failing to look at what our place and purpose in this world is, we can either look at it voluntarily, or we can be forced to look at it. And I knew that at some point I was going to be forced out of that job in a really uncomfortable way. I knew that probably a year into that job.
It's the feather. It's a concept I call the feather in the 2x4. Whether you believe in God, universe, whatever higher power you believe in, they will give you a feather and just tickle you. And feathers are nice; they're fun. They make you laugh, and they kind of, but they also get you to scratch your nose or get you to start to change a little bit. And if you don't change, then the 2x4 comes out. And while God and the universe may be loving, when the 2x4 comes out, all bets are off. And it starts off maybe with a light tap, but if you don't listen, you're going to get cracked upside the head with a 2x4. And if you've ever been hit by a 2x4, even if you're, maybe not into that sort of thing, if you've ever been hit by a 2x4, it doesn't feel good. So really, your 2x4 moment came when they took, when they wanted to take half your pay away. So how did you immediately, and we'll get to the aftermath in a second, how did you immediately react to that? Basically, hey, we're taking half your pay away.
The second I got the email, I was sitting on my couch, and I could feel myself just spiraling into the fear of, oh my God, how am I going to pay my bills? What am I going to do? How am I going to be able to survive in Los Angeles? Am I going to have to get another job? Just like all of that stuff started spinning. And so my first tactic was to reach out to a really good friend and really have her talk me off the ledge, because I knew that I needed an outside perspective to remind me of what I intrinsically knew inside. And that was that there was a silver lining in the situation. So going back to what I was saying before about how I had this idea to start this little blog project, that happened at the beginning of May. I launched the blog project on my birthday, and a week after that, I had seen Arianna Huffington speak at a conference. And I took down all these notes and all these great things, and that was literally the day before I got that email. So on a Tuesday, I saw Arianna Huffington speak. On Wednesday morning, I opened up my computer and had that email.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
So I called my girlfriend, and when I got off the phone with her, I had stopped crying and was like, okay, now what? And I had this little voice inside that was like, email Arianna Huffington. She gives out her email at the end of all of her speeches. And then I had the classic, like, angel and devil. The angel was like, do it, just do it, it's fine. And the devil was like, who do you think you are? You're not important enough. She will never respond to your email. Even if you do get a response, it's going to be an intern that says, we'll get back to you in 3 to 5 business days or whatever.
Yeah.
And I sat there and I literally had this whole thing. I just felt like, being battled by both sides. And I just got to this point where I was like, what's it going to hurt? If you don't reach out to her, then essentially, and this became my mantra last year, if you don't ask, the answer's always no.
Yeah.
And so I sat on my couch and I emailed her and I said, I just got some seemingly like bad news, and I'm doing my best to stay in a place of love and see it as a blessing in disguise. And here are all the words that you said to me yesterday, or not me, but the group, I guess, that I'm really leaning on right now. And I just wanted to reach out and say thank you because I really needed it. And then I told her about the blog project that I had started and clicked send. And I don't even know what I did for the rest of the day. I probably laid on my couch and watched Netflix and cried. But I 5 hours later had an email from her that said, thanks for reaching out. I'm really glad that I helped, and would you like to start writing on the Huffington Post? I've CC'd our senior lifestyle editor here to help get you started.
Awesome.
And I was like, speaking of another 2x4 moment, I essentially, my kitty is trying to jump up on my lap. I essentially got 2 2x4 moments in a course of 5 hours, and one was good, and one was not so good. But the good one was the one that was like, oh my gosh, like, what I'm doing actually has some power to it. Like, if Arianna Huffington is saying that my words are going to impact lives, like, I better listen.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's so interesting because as we wrap up the turning point and then head into the aftermath, what I find very interesting was that even though you didn't like the job and were only doing it for the money, when you recounted the story, the way you recounted it was you weren't even considering about getting another job. You were looking at getting a second job and how you're going to pay your bills. So at that point, you had been so into what you were doing that even though it wasn't right, it was your habit, and it was something stopping you from living a truly remarkable life. So then you went through everything, and then we get to you went through all of that. And then we get into the aftermath.
To watch the rest of this epic episode now, click on the link below the video. Do it now, you'll be glad you did. Are you still here? What are you waiting for? Watch the rest of this epic episode now by clicking on the link below the video.